Hello everyone, good afternoon. Today I will present or share my reading experience from journal article. First of all, I will introduce myself first. My name is Vany. I am from 3BC class. I was the Department of Sriwijaya State Polytechnic. The title of my journal is Tourism Recovery Strategy Against COVID-19, a Pandemic, by author Si Sun-ye, National Korea University, Kinmen, Taiwan. Journal Tourism Recreation Research, volume number 46, issue number 2, publication date year 21 August 2020, page 189 until 194, which is 6 page. Next, before reading a journal article, it's good idea to read an abstract first, because in this section we will find the purpose, the result of the research. Travel is likewise for tourism activity. Therefore, any factor that hinders traveling may have a profound impact on the tourism industry. This includes pandemics such as COVID-19. Therefore, it is important to have well thought out tourism crisis and disaster management (TCDM) to mitigate the impact and help with post-crisis recovery. This study used a qualitative research method to examine the TCDM during the current crisis. Interviews were conducted and transcribed. The result indicates that open communication is a key to successfully combat pandemic, and government-sponsored loans are crucial to the survival of tourism industry. Future research directions are also proposed. Okay, I will present about introduction of journal article. First, what it is tourism. Second, the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism industries. And third, the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism industry, steps used to minimize the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism sector. Tourism is activities of person traveling to and staying in a place outside their usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure, business, and other purpose not related to the exercise of an activity remunerated from renting the place visited. Where tourism organization travel is a condition for tourism activities. Any factor that hinders travel may have a major impact on the tourism industry. International issues such as the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic in particular are typical examples. The division of this event again emphasizes the fragility of the tourism industry. Other obvious travel barriers that can impact the tourism industry include tsunamis, earthquakes, terrorist activity, extreme climates, health and safety issues, and so on. That have even been studying, examining the impact and effects of tourist decisions. The industry were affected by the pandemic and the best strategies for reviving the industry. Overreaction to the pandemic is the reason for the collapse of Asian tourism and can significantly affect tourism demand. However, data has been explored by research to understand how to minimize impact. Although Taiwan has been relatively successful in containing the pandemic outbreak, Taiwan has not been spared from the economic downturn. The tourism industry is more affected by this impact and requires carefully planned strategies to mitigate them. Was on Taiwan tourism professor note, it is important to help the tourism industry to successfully hibernate through these difficult times and have sufficient energy to wake up. Figuratively speaking, at the end of the period of turmoil. A pandemic, even though undesirable, allows us from the contingency to deal with disaster. Taiwan has been able to learn from the experience of SARS to deal with it, resulting in its current success in fighting COVID-19. However, tackling the virus itself is only part of the dilemma. One should also pay attention to the consequences of the problem, such as an economic downturn. This paper attempts to examine contingency planning to reduce the economic weakness caused by the pandemic, particularly in the tourism industry. Okay, the second presentation about literature review. The tourism industry is very vulnerable to various factors such as natural disaster, disease pandemic, terrorism, rebellions, and so on. Therefore, tourism-related organizations need to be well prepared in countering and recovery strategies. Some studies define such efforts as Tourism Crisis and Disaster Management, or TCDM. This study aims to assess the impact of crisis and disaster. This paper once again passes the vulnerability of the tourism industry in the face of disaster and the difficulty of organizing recovery efforts. Therefore, it is important to collect past experience of crisis management in the tourism sector for future reference, and organizing crises and disasters into categories make it easier to understand them. The third is methodology. In methodology there are four topics. The first is research method, the second is interviewee selection, the third is data analysis, and the fourth, research and discussion. Research method. The main goal is to find effective TCDM to deal with pandemic like COVID-19. Thus, the scope of the research might be limited to the certain area within a certain time frame, but it can be a preliminary study that provides direction for the future studies. A series of in-depth interviews were conducted to obtain opinions from tourism industry experts, policymakers, and journalists. The interviewers were asked to watch various discussion programs related to COVID-19 and its economic impact, especially in the tourism industry. The three main focus of discussion during the interview were: first, one, which business are most likely to be impacted by COVID-19? Two, how does impact the integrated? And three, how one can effectively mitigate impact to prepare the post-crisis recovery. Interviewee selection. Taiwan was chosen as the research location because of its relative success in combating the impact of COVID-19. Interviews were conducted in March 2020. 12 interviews were selected based on their expertise and knowledge of the tourism industry and or the impact and COVID-19. The interviews include first scholars in the field of tourism, for practitioners in the tourism industry, to government officials who handle tourism-related policies, and to journalists. Based on the research objectives, semi-structured in-depth interviews were conducted to collect text-based data. Since there are very few empirical studies on the topic under study, interviews are invited to watch various discussion programs on COVID-19 and discuss relevant issues raised in the program to obtain rich and meaningful data. Data analysis. Verbatim transcripts of interviews were compiled in the Excel spreadsheet and analyzed with software and over qualitative data analysis (SPS modeler). This software enables researchers to organize data and conduct prior reviews to obtain meaningful results more accurately in order to increase the validity and reliability of the selected research methods. The same data were sent to other scholars to see if the same conclusion could be researched. The interviewers are well-known acquaintance, so any prior relationship, and watching the discussion program ensured that the interview was effective in gathering valid and reliable data. Result and discussion. The result of the study indicate that the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus has caused the company, particularly those related to tourism, to suffer. This leads to stagnation, the implementation of unpaid evacuation, and many extreme direct losses. The collapse of companies and employment further exacerbated a weak economy with low tourist demand, leading to a vicious cycle and affected the economy as a whole. Policies, social distancing arrangements are necessary, but create mistrust among people and can lead to discrimination and violence. Social events, large events, and other crowd activities and prohibited. Activities designed to promote tourism have also taken a hit. The problem is even worse in countries with large immigrant population. So some might find it difficult to return to their home country or workplace. In some cases, they may feel uncomfortable seeking shelter during observational quarantine. At this stage, Taiwan has managed to contain the virus outbreak. However, the situation is other countries and lack optimism. Therefore, the travel ban remains in effect. In other words, the tourism industry is still suffering. Instead of promising excessive cash injection that could bankrupt the government, the right way to deal with sluggish economy is to help crippled company get through the crisis. Being too ambitious can be a fatal mistake. In a sense, one also needs to learn to manage the situation and decide what is more important. Lastly, it is important that information sharing be transparent. Information can exacerbate the pandemic by inciting people to each other, which can lead to various social problems such as violence and crime. It can also hinder effort counter virus. Therefore, it is also important to have a voice and represent the government. Different government agencies should censoring their effort and policies. Okay, finally, this conclusion, the last one of the conclusion. As COVID-19 is still an ongoing crisis, it is difficult to gain knowledge of the overall picture. Therefore, future studies suggest to include the disciplines will help in the impact and of the crisis, the post-crisis recovery. Government are playing a major role fighting COVID-19 of many levels, such as economic recovery that includes the tourism industry. Due to the large number of local governments, it is important to have open communication to build good rapport and work relationship. In addition, to related business should try to weather the storm. There are many government-sponsored loans available at no interest to help business get through the turbulent times. Shutting down business or laying off employees can have devastating consequences for an entire country. The study identified the impact of the pandemic on the tourism industry, in particular how each company effects are interrelated. This is very important because it helps future decisions makes us understand what will happen the event of pandemic and in what order. This allows decision make a strategy and make better plans to reduce the impact of the pandemic on the tourism industry. It is also important to recognize the interconnectedness of the various sectors of tourism industry. Therefore, one cannot just help one sector, said hospitality industry, and help and all will be well. The interconnected nature of the tourism industry requires policymakers to look at industry from the more holistic perspective. Okay, that's my presentation. Sorry if there are mistakes in my pronunciation and or my presentation and others. Uh, I will say thank you for my presentation and I will say thank you for my reading course lecture. I think that's all. Thank you.